If you've identified what it is, the kind of career field that you want to move into, you're ready to start writing a resume. So let's take this from a marketing perspective and let's start thinking like a marketer thinks. The first step in marketing yourself is to learn what your market wants. See, marketers spend some months, weeks, months, sometimes longer than that, analyzing their market to try to figure out what does their market need and want. They don't just take shampoo, stuff it in a bottle, stick it on a store shelf, and then just wait and see if somebody buys it. The products that you see on store shelves are the end result of months and sometimes years of market analysis. We're trying to figure out what is it that the market wants. If they don't know what the market wants, it's very hard, if not impossible, to come up with a good product. So the first step is to do market analysis. What is it that my market wants in terms of whatever it is that you want to be? So what I tell people is to begin introspectively. Get you out a piece of paper and a pen, kick back, and just ask yourself this question. I want you to take on the perspective of the employer for a minute and say to yourself, if I were the boss, if I were the guy that was hiring somebody to do this job, what skills and abilities would I want them to have? And just start making a list of them. The skills and abilities that you think it would take to be good at the job that you want to do. If you were the boss and you were looking for the perfect candidate, the ideal candidate, what skills and abilities would you want that person to be able to do? And just start making a list of them. And as you do, think about it from these 4 different skills perspectives. We look at skills in terms of 4 major skills domains. There's one that we consider to be primary skill set, and 3 that are secondary. And by saying secondary, don't get confused. Don't think that I mean that they're less important or that they're secondary in terms of being not needed as much. They're only secondary in terms of their uniqueness. The primary skill set is unique to the career field that you want to move into. It's called expertise. What is your expertise skills in the field that you want to move into? If you were the boss, what would it take to be good in an expert level at the kind of things that you want to do? And just start making a list of them. Everything that you can think of. What does it take to do this job? And every job is going to be different, so I can't sit down and do it for you, because every job is different. The skill set, the expertise skill set to be a rodeo clown is very different than the skill set expertise to be a flight attendant. And you have to think about those kinds of things in terms of their expertise, number one, because that's what's going to separate you from somebody being able to do the job from somebody else that can't do the job. That's why history majors are not going to make very good engineers. It's because of the expertise involved. That's why teachers don't necessarily make real good surgeons, because the expertise skills are going to be radically different. Think about it in terms of the job that you want to do. What are the expertise skills that it takes to do that? That's your first skills domain. The second skills domain are work characteristics. Sometimes we call them the Boy Scout skills. The Boy Scout skills: trustworthiness, honesty, dependability. In the job market, it comes out to things like time management, the ability to work in groups, the ability to be self-sufficient or self-supportive, industry, imagination. Those kinds of things are work characteristics. They're not unique to your particular kind of job. They come out in a lot of different jobs, but they are important nonetheless. What are the work characteristics that are important to this kind of job? The third category of skills that you want to pursue, think about, or write down, are business skills. Now that might surprise some of you. Some of you might not think, unless you're in a business major, you may not see where business skills are relevant. But I can tell you that every job has some element of business associated with it. No matter whether you want to be a ditch digger the rest of your life. If you're going to be a ditch digger the rest of your life, you're going to have to figure out how long is my ditch, how deep is my ditch, because that's what how you're going to bill your client. If you decide you want to deliver newspapers the rest of your life, there's accounting, accounts payable, accounts receivable, and inventory control, and all those different elements of business that are a part of every job. And you want to think about your jobs and the job that you're trying to seek in a business perspective, and think about some of the different things that it would take: marketing, sales, management, finance, accounting, administrative. Those kinds of things are all business skills that might be elements or parts of the skill set that's involved in the kind of job that you want to seek. And finally, the fourth skill set you want to think about is personality traits. Once again, that might catch some of you by surprise, but there's a reason why there are not a lot of shy police officers in the world, right? There's a reason why we don't have a lot of hard-partying librarian in the world. Because people tend to gravitate towards jobs that reflect their personalities. And you want to think about the kind of job that you're going to be seeking in terms of the personality traits that it takes to do that job and do it well. So you got 4 skills domains: expertise, work characteristics, business skills, and personality traits. And you want to think about the list that you're creating, brainstorming with, and try to come up with, the best you can, the component skill set of the ideal candidate. Not you, because you're thinking like the employer right now. What is the skill set of the ideal candidate? What is the person that would, if somebody had all these skills, they'd be hired in a heartbeat? What are those skills? Do as much thought into it as you can. But don't let just your introspective thought be the decision maker here. Because it's good. You may know a lot about the kind of career that you're going to seek, but you also may not know very much at all. No matter whether you know a lot or a little, you know something. Put what you know down first, but then turn to other sources. Look at things like the internet. The internet, as you'll find out in job search strategies, is a terrible job search tool, but it's a fantastic research tool. It gives you the opportunity at your fingertips to learn an enormous amount of information about jobs. It's out there. It's out there in the and out there in cyberspace. All you got to do is tap in and start learning. And things about the skill sets for innumerable kinds of jobs can be available on the internet and online. Go to the library. Look at some written materials about that career and start letting their knowledge and their wisdom and their input modify and enhance the list you're making. And just keep going. Do as much outside information as you can come up with, as much intuitive or introspective kind of thought you can come up with. Put those things in on your list and let those things add to and modify that list. So you end up with a good quality list that if you were the employer and you had a candidate come in and had all those things, you'd hire them like that. Because that's what your market wants. Because the employer wants perfection. They want the perfect candidate to walk in the door. They want somebody that has every one of those skills. And they're looking, when they're evaluating your resumes, you and everybody else who's competing with you for that job, against that standard of perfection. And if you as a marketer can figure out what that standard is, then you can write to that standard. You can write your credentials or your resume to that standard of perfection. And if you can do that, then you have an advantage over everybody else, because I guarantee you they're not doing it. So, number 1 is market research. What is it, the qualities that it takes to do this job from the ideal perspective?